All right, what's going on, guys? We are back with ZK Finance, and I don't know what just happened. Our previous space just got ended. It said for my end, but then it ends up closing the space, so it can't be reopened. In any case, we were just getting kicked off. ZK Finance was explaining a little bit about their product and specifically how borrowing and lending on Ethereum is pretty broken right now. Fees are high, which actually, when people start complaining about fees on Ethereum, I almost get nostalgic. I feel like that's when you know like the market's back. Like I think it gives me like 2020 or 2021 vibes. And I'm nostalgic for the days when we used to complain about fees on Ethereum a lot. It means a lot of network usage. It means that a lot of attention, a lot of capital flow is happening, and so that's kind of exciting. Anyway, that's a brief recap there to the best of my ability. I apologize for that previous space closing. But I'd like to hand it back over to ZK Finance, talking about kind of the general evolution of the ZK Finance idea, started with borrowing and lending, and is then kind of evolving, from what I understand, into a one-stop shop. Is that a rough overview there, ZK Finance?
Yes, that's a good recap. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but happy to be back. So yeah,
And
as
also, yeah,
you were
everyone, if you
saying,
have
yeah,
socials, share the new link. That would be helpful to us. Thank you.
yeah. So I was saying, like, we started with the idea of borrowing and lending, and looking at potential L2s and seeing how can we what new opportunities were there. And one of the interesting thing is this new thesis about CK rollups, and that I think is going to be a very strong one coming on, because of how people want to be sure that, yeah, there's some advantages to this, like people can come in, come out, and all of this is kind of tracked mathematically, and then you don't need to rely on any game theory for that. So that's one a very compelling thing for us, and we got in touch with the team from CKSync, and we have been building since last year, kind of gone through them with the entire process from the testnet to their alpha mainnet, and recently their era. So it's kind of been a long journey, but happy to be here. And the idea, as I was saying, evolved from like first starting with borrowing and lending, and also kind of putting the idea of a real yield vault. So like all the different streams of revenue that the protocol earns, then the people can stake the token and then kind of participate on that revenue generation from the protocol. And from there on, we decided to say, okay, how can we also provide more value to the users and to the platform? So that's when the idea of the one-stop DeFi shop came. So that basically means we want to kind of have everything that people need in what platform. So like we're already working on integrating the bridge. We have already done successful tests there. So no need to go somewhere else, to go and bridge to CK Sync. We will provide that already embedded into the platform, so that they can go and borrow and lend. Or other ideas we have, like cross-chain swaps also for CK Sync, and later on our own DEX, concentrated liquidity models. So kind of everything you need in one platform for CK Sync.
When you say one stop shop, can you list off the things you mean there? Like, do you guys have on and off ramps?
Yeah, so that's also something we're working with the partner, that we will probably also integrate. So an on-off ramp for CK Sync as well. So that is another of the elements of the one-stop shop. So like borrowing and lending, the bridge, the cross-chain swaps, the DEX itself, and fiat on-off ramp.
Awesome. Well, that's super exciting. I mean, obviously, those of us who live and breathe DeFi from like the moment we wake up know how much is going on with the ZK Sync. What does the competitive landscape look like there? And is this the kind of thing anyone else is building? And yeah, how do you address competition just because it's so hot right now over on ZK?
Yeah, I think the entire process. So the network is EVM compatible, but there were there's some challenges to being new chain and so on. So there's definitely adaptations that need to be done. So there's some learning process, and kind of documentation is being kind of built on the go. So the information is kind of still starting. So that's one part where we have to kind of develop our own knowledge and kind of just test and get our hands dirty. In terms of competitive landscape, I think um, a lot of people entered or started to try to kind of farm the potential airdrop that could happen right with CK Sync, and that's kind of like I see as the first wave that happened right after the Arbitrum airdrop. But now I think that kind of faded out now, and more people who stayed are those that are interested in testing the technology and testing the kind of the ecosystem. I think the ecosystem is still relatively new. Volume is just kind of ramping up, but kind of early stage as well. So there are a few competitors out there, and but kind of everyone is on a similar level because it's very early. So one of the cool things that we will do is because as I said, we will start with borrowing and lending, but one of the cool things we will do is we will enable several assets. So that there's some other protocols that launch out there but have less assets. So we will start with more assets, and we will also start from the get go from with the bridge and some other functionality at the beginning.
Right on, very cool. And in terms of the bridging landscape in ZK, like, would it be a game? This is not supposed to be a gotcha question, but would it be a game changer if something like Thorchain or Maya integrated um, ZK Sync? And do you see that as a competitor to bridging? I guess.
I think that would be like an interesting solution for sure. Because the bridge itself it's developed by the core team of CK Sync, and we kind of just taking their SDK, implementing that so into our offering. But those are two kind of separate, ways to think about it. So one is, the bridge, how they did it, and the other one would be more like the cross chain, no bridges type of world. And of course, it would be very interesting to see either Maya or Torchain integrate CK Sync as a potential um, L2 where people can go and have a fast and cheap or cheaper transactions. So that I think we're not ruling that out. We haven't heard anything or no plans yet, but could become a possibility for sure. But I see it more as kind of the user can decide, right? So there will be the, let's say, quote unquote traditional way, just bridging your asset. But there might be some guys who just want to say, I have native Ethereum, I want to receive kind of Ethereum on CK Sync, but I don't want to go through the bridge. I don't want to have like any smart contract kind of risk. Is there anyone who can help me doing this cross chain swap? So I think that will be interesting. There's definitely some opportunity there for, like, kind of two-step integration. So like someone integrates a bridge and then it's kind of done all in one way, like with the guys of Rango or something like that. But still early on for that.
Got it. And speaking a little bit to just the token itself, so for those who are not aware, we're going to be having the first IDO on Thorstarter in quite a long while. We're super excited about this. We see this as, like, other than the Maya liquidity auction, this is just like the celebration of bull season returning. And that will be on the 16th of May. It's a small
Yeah.
raise size. The vesting is pretty favorable, and yeah, we're really excited to have ZK Sync on there as also a representative of a new ecosystem. So we are expanding multi-chain all the time, and we yeah, are super excited for this as our first ZK launch. So just going over that, you want to tell us a little bit about the ZGT ZK Sync ZK Finance token and what we can expect from that?
Yes, so the token itself is an ERC20 token, so that lives on Ethereum, but we have already kind of bridged that to CK Sync. So like the entire going on forward and going back is already kind of tested and completed. And the reason for this is um, from integration perspective. Later we want to have like a centralized exchange or like any type of integration, even if it's like, for example, Maya or anyone else. Like it's much easier just because everyone has the experience on ERC20s, and then kind of the way from there is also we have the bridge that allows you to go to like the CGT to in CK Sync. So that will be like the initial path, but then they will tokens will live on both chains. So a little bit about what we're planning to do. So definitely excited, hoping a lot of people participate and they see value on what we're building. As you said, 16th of May, so a couple of days from now. So that's happening, and yeah, the token itself will be accruing value. So we're thinking many ways on like we see it as revenue streams, and like all these revenue streams will contribute for the users to accrue value. And we're starting with the starting point is going to be 50% of all the revenues that the project generate are going to be distributed through the holders that stake the token. So as I said, we'll have a real yield vault. So of course it will be have some boosting from our token as well, but definitely the key interesting part is as fees kind of scale up, those fees will be paying back to the user. So we have first revenue stream is the interest rate difference, as I was mentioning from the business model. The difference from borrowers and lenders, and a percentage of that is accrued to the protocol, and then 50% will be shared with the stakers. Another part is when liquidations happen, of course, we kind of want to minimize that, but there's some parameters we will be pretty using very stable. Like we will start with stable coins mainly, so like only WBTC, Ethereum, and the rest will be stable coins. But still, people can take max leverage, and at some point, if there's a massive move, they could get liquidated. We hope that's not the case, but people need to understand the risk. But if a liquidation takes place, a percentage of that is there's an incentive for people to actively monitor and liquidate like any other borrowing and lending platform, but also a small percentage of that goes to the protocol when someone gets liquidate someone else. So that is just kind of keeping the health of the system in line, and that's like a second revenue stream that we are having. And then later on, we have like planned things that are in the future. So, for example, cross-chain swaps, when we're trying to work to enable cross-chain swaps. So, like some of the core tokens. So, let's say ideally like Bitcoin, and then you get like USDC on CK Sync. There will be a small fee from that, which also will be kind of accruing to the token. Um, and kind of more from the technical perspective, that there's still like things to be explored but are very very interesting, is there's been a lot of hype around, and not only hype, but like a lot of real positive interest for everything around account abstraction. So like this new feature on Ethereum, and one of the cool features of CK Sync is account abstraction is kind of embedded into the protocol. So we are looking at potential ways to kind of use that. And, it's still early on because we are still, developing and some, but potentially you will be able to, for example, pay gas fees on our token. So, if that is successful, then that of course will kind of create a lot of interest as well for, for the, for the activity of the token. So there's kind of several things that we're thinking, how can all of them contribute to the value of the token, and all of that value kind of redirected back to the stakers. And lastly, starting from 50%, but we are also thinking, as fees ramp up, as fees go higher, we are thinking to also increase the percentage up to like 75% at some point, when like if fees go up, we also kind of share more back to the stakers.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. Do you have so we're doing obviously on the 16th, the Thorstarter IDO. Are you doing other promotional launches with other launchers or IDO pads, or are you doing anything like that? In addition, do you have a targeted TGE?
Yes, so right now we're kind of working in different like pipelines, so to say. So one would be like the product, which has been our main core focus, and continue working on that. Then the other part is the kind of the fundraising, and we kind of split that into some small, so like seed round private round and public sale. So right now we have been focusing on the first two, so the seed round and the public, and the seed round and the private round. Sorry, but yeah, I think we do have in the planning later on uh, potentially some other IDOs coming, but nothing confirmed yet because that is a bit further down the line. So kind of guys in Thorstarter are getting like an early deal, which is cool for the community. Also, I'm happy to have you guys here and also provide value back. And in terms of TGE, so we're thinking um, right now the target is end of Q2, so around June, and that's what we are working on. That's where we're working towards. But what we're planning is kind of have two-step model. So the first, and by that I mean like we want to, or we plan to launch the protocol first, kind of have users come, borrow, lend, get yield, and rewards, but also the rewards will kind of accrue but not be will not be claimable, and then later on kind of a few months later we will kind of enable and do the TGE where people will be able to have the token. So that's a little bit the plan. Of course, I don't know if with CK Sync there had been some small delays and so on, so we are of course kind of also working and knowing, having a close eye to that. But our target is end of Q2.
Got it. Thank you. So we have a bunch of guests and things to cover today. So I just want to open it up to some audience questions for ZK Finance. I know a couple people have DM'd me. How about Toffee?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, super. So I have a question about security. So after the Arbitrum airdrop, like the eyes turned to ZK, of course, because like it was a huge airdrop and it was great for wealth generation, for like for a huge crowd. After that, Merlin Dex, they said they are going to launch a Camelot fork on ZK Sync, and they were audited by Certic, like one of the
Mm-hmm.
famous audit firms, and they made an audit, giving a 95 score from their website, which made people think that everything is in order. However, they missed two lines, which finally led to a rug pull, a $3 million rug pull. I think the most important thing you need to tackle and ensure investors about is the security. Can you give a little bit more explanation on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was kind of a bit of an unfortunate incident. I think every new chain that comes up, especially when there's high expectations, there's gonna be some hiccups, and um, I think in this specific case it was more like they built a backdoor, and that's never good. And then that backdoor was kind of misused, and then kind of everything went downhill from there. But specifically to us, we have taken this quite seriously. So what we have done is, first of all, we have worked with other guys that had a lot of experience with borrowing and lending. So in the core team, we have an advisor that has experience on borrowing and lending protocols like Venus and others in Binance Smart Chain. And we also kind of have been taking our time to go through all the process. So first on the testnet, then on alpha, and kind of just going through all that process. At the same time, we already started an audit, right? We were working with PeckShield because we also want to have like another person, an external party to look into what we're doing, and we will kind of disclose that as well as we receive the results. But so that's one part of that. The other part is we also value the community. So that's when you can use also, people can look at the different things that you're doing, and we will also kind of we just announced today we're starting with this CK Quest, which are kind of our way to incentivize the community to do multiple things, create content, um, provide more information, but at the same time, like, being early testers both on testnet, we will allow kind of start asking people to come test on our testnet, and we also allowed kind of say, guys, come and test early on for our mainnet as well, kind of a more closed environment. But yeah, we have kind of all these different let's say shields. Of course, there's no 100% security, but um, we're trying to do everything we can, taking working with one of the best auditors out there, and also just kind of doing everything that we can to ensure people that everything is going to be positive, and no backdoors or things like that.
Thanks, mate. I think this is very valuable because like I got burned and I'm a little kind of like shy to invest money in ZK syntaxes after the incident. So thanks for the answers.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think just kind of to close to that. I mean, there's the team who from these decks that did this is obviously not CK Sync itself. So CK Sync is permissionless. Anyone can come, and the bad actors are gonna be everywhere. So what we're trying to do is just kind of use transparency, and also use with auditors, and so that people can also uh, have more security on that. But at the end, people still or we always encourage that they do their own research, and test, maybe do some small tests first, and take it from there. But yeah, thanks for your question, and yeah, it's an important one.
Awesome. Great question there, Toffee. Appreciate it. Up next, we have Prime Directive.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys coming on. And I just I've had a little trouble getting this question together because I'm looking through a lot of community feedback, and just around this launch and everything. And I think that because we know Thorstarter, and some of the people that are closer know your team, and we know what you're up to, and we have a lot of confidence, and I do personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I also know through working with projects how much there is to do between with the development and the coding, and just all the things that go into a project, including what everyone else can see. So I guess my question is, what does it look like in your plan, in your project plan, like how mindful are you of the balance between getting all these things done to get a really good, solid working project and product, and also, I've just seen some community members that had to do some, I don't know, more work than not more work than they should have, but you really gotta kind of, it's because of the environment, right? That just like Toffee said, like he got burned already, so he needs to make sure that he's going to be secure. So I'm just asking you to speak a little bit on your plan for the front-facing stuff, like the website and how it works, and the documents. And I can see, I plug through. I have reference because I know what you're working on and everything. It's easier for me. But when someone first hears about this, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus at this great moment when we're making these announcements, but it's an AMA. It's my job as someone who represents the community to just see if I can check on, making sure that you guys have a plan to make sure that it's easy for people to see how awesome this is.
Yes, for sure. No problem. I think So how we look at this was from last year till like let's say a month from now, our core focus has been like solely on the development part, like just kind of working on the contracts, getting everything ready, having like a first website, a first app, like all this process, like the first web app and like testnet, mainnet, and like all of them had their own challenges and adaptations and so on. But that is kind of like we are pretty far ahead on that, and like in terms of borrowing and lending tech wise, we are very confident now that from a tech perspective we can move forward. But now we like around 2 or 3 weeks ago we started to kind of really say, okay, now we're getting to this place. Also era launch, so like the interest is increasing, so now we start to also need to look into other areas. So and the other areas being like, for example, business and marketing. So one thing that we are working now, and we're gonna like put a lot of more resources into this now, is to expand everything that is related to like kind of the first impression. So we just announced the rebranding, and we will continue to push like things related to the rebranding, the new website, like the new logo, new colors, like all these new image, and kind of also the message that we want to convey through the new branding. So that's the kind of the starting point. Then from there on, also we are already ramping up everything that is related to community management, so like the Discord, the Telegram, and kind of encouraging people to come to our Discord, to our Telegram, to ask questions, to share like what they like or what they're seeing. So that's something we are also now increasing. But at the same time, we're going to be working on all these materials that now are necessary for people to understand better. So like the FAQs and like the docs, so that people can start like learning about what we kind of discussed now today, to kind of have it on a easy to find place, like what the token is going to be doing, like what are like the product plan, and all of this is kind of like work in progress, but we are working now, are focusing on that as well, so that we can deliver that and people don't need to, or can find it very easily. So that's something that we're doing now. And at the same time, we, because we are late stage on our seed round, we are now also kind of increasing the size of the team so that we can get support to kind of achieve all this, both on a product level and on a business marketing front.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And just so you know now, if you don't know already, Thorstarter is a part of your team too. Not just for raising and launching, but we're here to support you. We have a great community that we're interacting with. So what we're going to do today is we're going to set up your channel on our Discord. We'll link your announcements to it, and just reach out to me on Discord, or anyone that you want to send from your team if you need anything. We'll set you up with special permissions on Discord too. So if you want to jump in there ever and answer questions with us or whatever, you're more than welcome. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Moving forward. Thank you for answering my questions.
Yes, thank you, and I will do that. Definitely will join, and happy to come now and then, and as much as needed to answer questions. Of course, not only now going into the IDO, but also as we move forward with all the plans that we have.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Anybody else have a ZK Sync or ZK Finance question? Because otherwise, I think we'll just kind of do wrap things up with ZK Finance and move on to chat a little bit about Maya and Eldorado. Anything major? All right. Well, so again, everyone, we're doing this ZK Finance IDO on Thorstarter. It's a very small raise. We're extremely bullish on it. That's on May 16th of this year. And it's going to be 10% unlocked to TGE, and then a linear vesting after that. Overall, there were some concerns early on with tokenomics and kind of release schedules. And the ZK Finance team is moving fast. They've adapted things. They've updated their documentation in addition to doing their rebrand. And we are confident in this project. And behind the scenes, this is also in our Thorstarter family and kind of network of people we trust and people we've worked with in the past, this project comes highly recommended. If that's any additional confidence. So anything final from ZK Finance?
No, I mean, thanks for the nice words. We're happy to be part now of the family, and you know, also to see everyone contribute and to be part in the IDO. Happy to answer any other follow up questions. Thanks for the invite, and yeah, great stuff, great questions, and we'll be pushing more and more stuff, more and more updates as we kind of ramp up to the IDO and to the launch.
All right, great. Well, okay, actually, we have one last question. We're just going to do just one last community question from Juggernaut, who's a great longtime community member of ours, and then we will move on. Juggernaut, you're coming up.
Sure.
Hello?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hello. Hi, everyone. Long time. Okay. 85 question. I see Zika Sync everywhere in Torvalds decks, in some really very high projects. Please, ZK, can you? There are a lot of layer 2 of Ethereum. Can you say in few words, but ED5, please, what you bring new in comparison of Arbitrum or Optimist or anything else? Please. Thanks.
Yes. I think, I see this whole Ethereum expansion still as, as an iterative process. People are trying to, let's say, attack this from different angles, right? It's like we have the L2s on Ethereum, but we have also the L1s, like, I don't know, Avalanche, and there's like many ways that people are trying to solve this issue, which is like everyone understands there's a problem. Ethereum is too expensive. Like, I don't know, approvals on Uniswap were like $15 now. When I remember early days were like some cents. So there, we kind of all agree that this is a problem. And then there's been different solutions to this and different teams trying to attack this or like tackle from different angles. And one of the kind of new ways of thinking about this is these rollups, which basically is just packing several transactions into one, and then putting kind of in an L2, and then having some way different depending on the L2 to validate those transactions. In the case of Arbitrum and Optimism, they are based on optimistic rollups. So, and not to go too much in depth, but just basically you trust that everyone is doing the right thing. And because of that, there are special security assumptions to that. If you want to check, then there's a period of time to be checked those transactions and so on. I think in the case of CK Sync, these CK rollups, they're different in the way that you don't need to provide trust on anyone. Like, it's just math based, what is in, what is out, and like nobody needs to trust anything because they use computation. So they have an algorithm, and then you kind of check that all the transactions match. And this is like the downside is right now all these CK computations are intensive. They require power, but like that has not been a huge problem. As you know, the computing power has becoming better and better, so the cost of this will become smaller to compute those proofs. But that's kind of a problem for the nodes and whoever is doing the computation of that. But from a user perspective and from a network perspective, the interesting thing is the transactions that you do are secured by the kind of the security of Ethereum as well, because the math cannot be faked. So you need to say, okay, these transactions match, and if they match, then they kind of are packed and then put into the block. So I think that's the interesting part, that CK Sync is kind of bringing new, and we're just kind of building on top of that. And that would be like the easiest explanation, but like as I said, there are other cool things that uh, mainly account abstraction. So account abstraction on the protocol level um, brings a lot of benefits that it's still very early on to know, like those are more theoretical things that people think that you can do. But for example, in theory, you could be able to pay for adoption, right? So when someone creates the first transaction, you tell them, okay, the first 5 transaction gas is paid by the protocol. Things like that that are very cool are being enabled, and of course this is also coming to Ethereum, but in a different way. And Ethereum is going to be a smart contract that is in between, and this is more on the protocol side, which is an interesting way to look into that. So I think these two combinations will be allowing people to build on CK Sync very attractive products that people have been wanting to do. Okay, I want to pay with any or with X ERC20. That will be possible, and many other things. So I think is now we look into Arbitrum and Optimism, and they have gotten, especially Arbitrum, a lot of usage, and that's very nice. But they also have been like a year or a bit more than that on the market. So I think 1 year from today we will see very, very new or a completely different evolved ecosystem, where a lot of new things that we're expecting or we might not even think about now will be there. So very excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Um,
Welcome. Yeah.
So moving forward.
Wait.
What?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for that. So you will support smart contracts, so NFT tools?
So CK Sync itself is EVM compatible, right? So like basically any smart contract is you can bring it or you can do it. You can create anything on CK Sync, and that's why we kind of leveraging that as well. We want something that was EVM compatible because that's where the biggest user base is. So yeah, definitely smart contract compatible. That's one of the key use cases or one of the main kind of value props of the chain.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. In few time you will see why I ask those questions. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Juggernaut. All right, guys, now we're going to move on a little bit. We have a special guest here today, which is Eldorado. And Eldorado is a project being built on Maya protocol. If you've been following us, you know that Maya is is the talk of the town right now in our corners of the internet. And so, yeah, I just want to give the stage. We're not announcing any official partnership with Eldorado currently, but you could probably assume that is to come at some point. Again, we're just interested in the Maya ecosystem generally, and as of right now, Eldorado is the first project being natively built on Maya, other than maybe Maya Tribe as well. So maybe we'll get an answer from them. But Eldorado, do you want to come up and tell us what's been going on with Eldorado, and yeah, what are you building and how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome up.
Appreciate it. So yeah, we're the first project that's actually being built natively on Maya for Maya protocol specifically, and we've had quite the week from the get-go. So launching our beta platform with our swapping LP synths all running at the same time. We did have a slight issue with our SETH synth, but everything else has been moving along pretty swimmingly. We've gotten lots of feedback from our community about what they're looking for, what they'd like to see, and what they what they like about the actual platform. We took a very simplistic, raw approach to how building out our platform should work. We don't want any over complicated tools for what we're trying to achieve at this time. We will get a little bit more fancier and create a little bit more of a beautiful platform as we go, but we want to make sure that our underlying tech and everything's performing as it should be. Nothing worse than having a platform with that looks pretty, but doesn't get you anywhere.
Awesome. And so the platform is up and running, and people are making swaps. What's next? What is it? What do the next steps look like for Eldorado?
So in the short term, right now we're looking at revamping our UI, and at the same time we are looking at the integration of wallets. We are planning. Some people may have guessed or seen we are looking to integrate XDeFi into our platform sooner rather than later. As we know, bringing on that cross-chain ability and access through XDeFi is paramount to accessing it as market capital as the whole. But beyond that, then, like mentioned, we'll be revamping our whole front end based on the community feedback. We really do appreciate and do listen to the community feedback that we get and receive, and we do take every single suggestion into consideration. It's not a please fill it out and we'll look at some time. We do take a serious look at integrating those comments into making the experience better for the user, because without the users there is no platform to use. There's nothing that can be achieved without the community behind it. But we're also looking forward to the developments in the summer that is coming from Maya with regards to Aztec and the smart contract platform that'll be coming. So we're eagerly awaiting that in the summer, but we do have lots of plans, and we do have lots of plans coming down for that. So we don't want to release too much on that yet, but there is something coming, and we believe it will be a large impact to the whole ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, that's super exciting to hear. Yeah, guys, I recommend check out Eldorado. I think their URL is eldorado.market. And yeah, I mean, swaps are live. It's pretty cool to see a project that's post product. I don't think they've raised yet, but yeah, they're live and kicking out there in the world. And yeah, I think we're going to be seeing some exciting things there. Just last question: Are you guys raising?
Yes, we're currently raising right now. So if you have any interest or want to contribute, just get in touch with our biz dev Cornerdon. We'll sort you out. But if you're also looking for some tidbits of what might be hinting at the future, our Gitbook is actually linked to our platform, so you may spy some interesting things in that Gitbook for what will be coming down the pipe and what opportunities there may be.
Cool. Well, great. Moving on from Eldorado, I noticed we do have a Maya Protocol, the one, the only in the audience. Oh, now they're gone. Okay, well, I was going to just ask if they have anything to say. I know they have plenty to say, and if you want the latest updates on Maya Protocol, really what you got to do is listen to their Mondays with Maya, which consistently just have great alpha and are super exciting. But yeah, let's move on a little bit. I have actually never talked to or met Maya Tribe, but Maya Tribe, would you like to come up and talk a little bit about what you're building? Or are you just a listener today? I just see you in the audience there. I'm going to send the invite just in case. All right, maybe not. So I'd just like to take this kind of last segment to, for everybody listening, just give some of the high-level updates from Thorstarter's end on what we think is going to be just a really bullish kind of quarter and year for us. A lot of people, I think, don't see behind the scenes all the things we're working on, and think that we are just fading into the abyss like many projects have over the last bear season, but it's very much not the case. Thorstarter has been working in the background. The reality of the original Thorstarter model as an IDO launch pad and kind of incubator is that it is a bull season play. And, we've really had to just spend the last year really working with partners, trying to help them, doing what we can, but really not able to do big launches or some of our original purposes and things that we were doing. And so now what we're gearing up for is a new bull season. We are still around. We are still kicking. We're building in the background. And as sort of an IDO launchpad, a venture DAO, and an incubator, we're extremely excited for the things to come on new ecosystems like ZK Sync. We're extremely excited for what we're thinking is going to be a Cambrian explosion on Maya when their L1 goes live. And then in addition to that, and these are just on the Thorstarter token side, because there's always the token question when you're tokenized. Thorstarter is about to we have a Genesis node running on Maya. And then in addition to that, we, because of our treasury's investments in Maya protocol generally, we have a fair amount of the Maya token that gives you protocol revenues from Maya protocol generally. So almost like owning equity or something in Thorchain early on, we own equity in Maya or protocol revenues. And so what that's going to look like is a building consistent revenue stream for the Thorstarter treasury. With that, we could use that for a number of things. We could use that to buy back our token and burn it. We could use that to do all kinds of things that are interesting with Xrune itself. Or we could distribute it to our stakers, and everybody in our forge would be getting these cacao rewards. And anyways, we have a very healthy state of protocol revenue due to our ties, our venture investments over the past 2 years. If you guys know me, I'm T. I've been working on Thorstarter for 2 years. This has been my job. And a lot of these venture investments, some of them, it's like crypto investing generally. Some of them hit, some of them are good, some of them are not. But if you play a diversified strategy for long enough and make intelligently sized bets, it does end up paying out, and that is what it's looking like for Thorstarter. So we're in a pretty bullish state where we have the ability to raise up the Xrune token during this next bull season. In addition, we have protocol revenues and a lot of interesting opportunities for how to share those. So high-level summary, we're super excited that Maya launched. That's all gone really well. Up next after that, we're bullish on ZK Finance. I keep making that mistake. That is on May 16th. That's our next one, and that's just a 75K raise. This isn't a cash grab. This is about getting our community familiar with their product and helping build their community. And we're excited that our community gets to get in on that, even in a limited amount. Beyond that, things like El Dorado. El Dorado is just the first of hopefully many breakout projects on Maya protocol. And once Maya's L1 Aztec is up and running, that chain can run almost any project that existed on Terra. As in, you could go and find open source Terra code bases and we could, Thorstarter, find a new team for them, like putting a new crew on a ship and resurrect these great Terra projects and build them from there. So lots of potential for our incubation, for our protocol revenues, in addition to hopefully a boost that we can engineer with the Xrune token. So overall, we're extremely bullish. There's a lot to be excited for. And up next, we are back in the IDO game. That's going to be May 16th with ZK Sync. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We will see you there.